Hello, and welcome to TopKnot Reading. I'm Abby, I'm topknotstitcher, and today, which is the same day as whatever video I just uploaded, today we're not going to talk about stitching at all, we're just going to talk about books. So if you are a person who enjoys reading as an activity, this is the video for you. If you are not, this is not the video for you. If it bothers you that I know little to nothing about the books I'm about to show you, this is not the video for you. A couple videos ago, a month ago, I went to the library book sale, which is my favorite weekend of the entire year. And this year, I really excelled. I got an A+ in book buying because I bought 58 books for $16.50. Yeah. So this is an annual book sale that our Friends of the Library does, and it's like 6 hours on Saturday and then just 3 hours on Sunday, and I usually go at least twice on Saturday, and then I also go once, sometimes twice on Sunday. And all the books are 50 cents. They have a few things that are more like fancy art things and collector's editions and, you know, big serious books. But everything else is 50 cents, and then the last hour of the sale on Sunday, they do a $5 bag sale where you pay $5 and you get a grocery bag, and then you can fill it with as many books as you can fit, and then you get to walk out with them. So this year, I managed to find 35 books in the last hour of the sale. It's like you gotta dig a little bit more because it is fairly picked over, but there's still a lot of books at that point. So I'm going to show you the 58 books that I acquired. And some of these I know a little bit about, and that's why I bought them. Some of them just looked interesting, or like interesting enough for 50 cents. Some of them just kind of made me laugh, and so I was like, I need that. And some of them, I was with a couple friends, and so occasionally they would just say, like, you need this, and I would just throw it in my bag. So I know some things about some of these books, and I don't know anything about the rest. They're in no particular order. We're just going to go through. I'm also getting hungry, so we might go fast. If you have any questions, if I say the name of something but I don't say the author or whatever, like, please feel free to comment on this video and ask about it, because I'd be happy to let you know. Also, a couple of the things I picked up were, I got like a needlepoint cat book, and like I think a quilting book somewhere. So this might not add up to 58. Please don't be alarmed. It's definitely over 50 though. So we're just gonna see what happens. This first one is called Queen of Shadows, and it's a novel of Isabella, wife of King Edward II, and that just sounded fascinating. It's set in 14th century England, and I have found there's a real sweet spot of like middle-age literature because there's just not a ton of it, and I love me some good historical fiction, but historical fiction of a, like, not an unusual time, but just, like, a less popular time to write about. And so this is the main character is a handmaiden to Queen Isabella, and she is sworn to a secret mission. I don't know what it is. Oh, I do. She wants to avenge Wales, which has been dominated by Scotland. No. Wales has been brutally crushed. Scotland's brave hearts remain rebellious. I'm just going to read this to you. It is 14th century England. Wales has been brutally crushed while Scotland's brave hearts remain rebellious. With treason everywhere, England's beautiful Queen Isabella, humiliated for years by her weak, unfaithful husband, is emerging from the shadows to take her revenge. But there is another, equally forceful and cunning, who pretends to be what she is not so that she may avenge the blood of Wales, who I think is the handmaiden. So it's pretty exciting, and I love me some, like, strong female characters. So excited for that one. This one I got because of the title. It is called Jam on the Vine. I literally did not look at it. I just, like, what it was about or anything. I said, that's a cool cover and also a great title because jam. This is a dynamic and compulsive debut novel that chronicles the life of a trailblazing African-American woman journalist and newspaper founder, Ivo Williams, through the start of the 20th century. Love it. It weaves her story with that of her family members. It's both an epic vision of the injustices that defined an era and a compelling story of a complicated history we only thought we knew. So that sounds great, and I love supporting diverse authors, and it sounds like it could be quite interesting. Next up, moving into the philosophy section, this is Mastery of Awareness, Living the Four Agreements. The Four Agreements, by Ruiz, I think. No, I'm going to get mixed up. The Four Agreements is something in philosophy, psychology, spirituality, don't know. This is related to it. It was mentioned the other week at my office because we do that kind of work. The Four Agreements and Mastery of Love is by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is Mastery of Awareness, so it's like a kind of companion, because the author of this was like an understudy, a protege of Ruiz. I don't know, but it was mentioned at work and I saw this and I grabbed it. A Fatal Grace, Louise Penny. This is the Inspector Gamache series. I have read the first one, and I have the Kindle versions of, I think, like the first 5 or 6 in the series because they were on sale for like $1 each, and so I was like, fine. And then I stopped reading on my Kindle, and I find that I tend to read. I don't do well with this type of book on a Kindle. I need a very specific type of book to read on Kindle. And really, I have not been reading many like physical books lately. So I'm hoping that this will change that. This is the second book in the series, so it's perfect because I've only read the first. I also picked up 3 Wishes by Leon Moriarty, who wrote Big Little Lies. And no, did she? Yes. It's not on here because this came out before that, but she did write that. And so I don't know what this one is about, but I know that it's good. I think it's about 3 sisters. Don't know, but I'm into it. I feel like it'll be a really good summer read. Next up, this is The Mistress of Spices by Chitra Banerjee Divakuruni. I don't know how to say that. But it is set in Oakland, California, which is right near me. So that would be great. She is... Sorry, I'm going to get so distracted trying to read all of these, and I won't do that. But she runs a spice shop in Oakland, and so she is a mistress of spices, a priestess of the secret magical power of spices. That's beautiful. And so she apparently is dispensing wisdom and the appropriate spice for the restoration of sight, the cleansing of evil, the pain of rejection to all of the Indian expats in her community. And when a lonely American ventures into the store, a troubled Tilo cannot find the correct spice. Ooh. It sounds a little twisty. So I'm excited for that. And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. This is the author of The Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns, which I think I've read, but I've definitely seen the play of, and it was so familiar, some of it, so I think I've read it, and I've definitely read The Kite Runner, but I have not read this, and he has another one out too now, I think. So real intense but beautiful writing based on my previous experience. Next up is Dreaming Me, From Baptist to Buddhist, One Woman's Spiritual Journey. I love a good spiritual memoir. I have been trying to diversify and do maybe not a better job, but just be more intentional about learning from the spiritual experiences of others, and especially people of other religions, because I think there is so much wisdom to be gained. And so this amazing writer, Jan Willis, she was raised in a segregated Alabama mining camp and would eventually become a renowned Indo-Tibetan scholar and professor of religion at Wesleyan University. Who knew? Along the way, she marched with Martin Luther King Jr., found a place within a Tibetan Buddhist monastery. Hers is a deeply personal journey of racial and spiritual healing that will move anyone who is compelled by the examined life. And I surely am. And I'm not Buddhist, but I think there's a lot to be gained by some of their teachings, and I'm super interested to add this to my spiritual memoir repertoire. That's fun to say. In that same vein, Anne Lamott, one of my patron saints. This is a book of essays, Plan B, Further Thoughts on Faith. She is a guiding light in my spiritual journey, and I find her to be very realistic and very refreshing, and she is like one of the many warriors who does like a really warriors, her, who does a great job of like balancing how you can have a very robust spiritual life and also live in a really crazy non-spiritual, non-Christian world. And that can look a little bit different than the church might tell you it has to look. I don't know if that's making any sense, but I super love her. This, a disarmingly spiritual sincerity, it says. Disarming spiritual sincerity. Whatever. I love her. She's a great writer. I'm excited to add that because I don't have that one yet. And I also got myself some Annie Dillard, An American Childhood. I have read a couple of essays by Annie Dillard, but this is her autobiography, and I am excited to read it. We're in the memoir section, I think, because we also have The Liars Club, which is Mary Karr's memoir. And Mary Karr wrote a book about writing memoirs. I forget what it's called. I think it's called, like, The Art of Memoir, or something really, like, obvious like that. Not obvious in a bad way, but, like, I can't remember it. But this is her memoir, and I have not read it, and it's, like, you know, I love me a good memoir. In the spiritual exploration phase of things, this is a Thomas Merton reader. So it has selections from his major works and some lesser-known writings as well. Prose and poetry on an abundance of important themes: war, love, peace, Eastern thought and spirituality, monastic life, art, contemplation, and solitude. Oh, I love contemplation and solitude. So I haven't really read much Merton. I've read, you know, like the spare thing here and there. This is not going to be a book that you just like sit down and read through. You totally could. I won't. But I'm excited to just, you know, add it to my like personal syllabus, as it were. Oh, I'm really excited about this one. I don't know how to say her name. I should learn more of this. Jhumpa Lahiri. She wrote The Emperor of Maladies, which is a really, like, my favorite collection of short stories. I think the only collection of short stories that I would call favorite, because I don't love short stories, but this one is beautiful. I ended up giving it to a friend because it's titled An Interpreter of Maladies, which is it's one of the stories. One of the stories in the collection is titled Interpreter of Maladies, and I have a friend who works as a hospital interpreter, and so I sent it to her because I was like, this is basically you, even though it really has nothing to do with what, I mean, there is that element of it, but otherwise, like, there's not really a connection. Anyway, I have another of her novels, and now I have Unaccustomed Earth. Nope, this is not a novel. These are also stories, so now I'm even more excited to read it. She wrote The Namesake, which won the Pulitzer I don't know how long ago. But it looks like this is another set of stories that take us from Cambridge and Seattle to India and Thailand as they explore the secrets of family life. Subtly renders the most intricate workings of the heart and mind. Doesn't that sound beautiful? I can't remember enough specifics about The Interpreter of Maladies to remember why I loved it so much, but I do remember that she does a very good job of painting a very vivid picture and, like, pulling you into the story right away. I struggle with short stories because often, like, you don't have enough, like, there's not enough build-up, and then there's not enough to, like, you know, transition you out of the story. It's just, it seems so abrupt, and she does such a good job of like hooking you in right away so you care about the story, and the story makes sense the whole way through, and then it's just beautiful. I don't know how she does it. I don't love short stories. I love hers. And some of them are like 50 pages. So sometimes you get like a nice size story in there. I also picked up a good number of little cozy mysteries because they just make me laugh so much. And this one especially is A Stitch to Die For. It's a Anastasia Pollock crafting mystery. And let's see. I don't know what it has to do with stitching because the summary in the back doesn't indicate that. Oh, she's a magazine crafts editor. But she's stumbling across one dead body after another in work-related settings, but then somebody targets the old lady across the street, and it's a couple days before Halloween, and so it's just getting crazy. So obviously needed that. In the same genre, we have Guilty as Cinnamon, because obviously need it. This one is set in Seattle. It's Pepper's Spice Shop. And business is cooking until one of Pepper's potential clients, a young chef named Tamara Langston, is found dead, her life extinguished by the dangerously hot ghost chili a spice Pepper carries in her shop. So first of all, her name is Pepper and she runs a spice shop. I'm in. It's just real cute. And apparently there is another book in the series called Assault and Pepper. Yeah, I need to read that. I just love these. They're so dumb, but they're so great. And then this one I had to get because it was so intriguing. It's called Let's Play Dead. It's a murder set in a children's theater. Yeah. So, someone is invited to the Children's Museum for a sneak preview of a newly installed exhibit based on Harriet the Hedgehog book series. And then... Oh, okay, wait. It's not a theater. It's a children's museum. Still good. Just a children's museum. They just have a bad pun about, for this killer, murder is child's play on the front. And the museum is called Let's Play, which is not a good name for a museum. But I'm so excited to read it. Next up, My Name is Mary Sutter, which is a Civil War historical fiction novel. She is Mary Sutter. She is a midwife and she dreams of becoming a surgeon. So like I'm very into that. And she is determined to overcome the prejudices against women in medicine and eager to run away from recent heartbreak. So she goes to DC to tend the wounded from the Civil War. So it's very exciting. Apparently there's cameo appearances by historical figures. I don't know if she is, I'm assuming she's like at least somewhat based off of a real person, but I don't know. And maybe I'll tell you once I find out. I did get a little quilting book, Fat Quarters, Small Quilts. I don't know how to quilt, but maybe now I can learn. I'm not even going to bother looking at it closer. Okay. Oh, got this little Quaker Book of Wisdom. So... speaks to all of us who are seeking a simpler, more meaningful life, explores ways in which we can harness our inner light to guide our everyday personal choices and challenges, how to live and speak truthfully, how to listen for, trust, and act on our conscience, and how to make our work an expression of the best that is in us. Like, that's beautiful. Life lessons in simplicity, service, and common sense. We all need more of that. So, add that to my pile. This is another Civil War book that I don't actually remember. I don't remember putting this in my bag, so maybe my friend did. This is Willa Cather's Sapphira and the Slave Girl. It's the story of Sapphira Doddridge, a Virginia lady of the 19th century who marries beneath her and becomes irrationally jealous of Nancy, a beautiful slave, and it's considered by many one of her best novels. I haven't actually read any Willa Cather, but I have, I think most of, I don't know if most, I have a good number. She wrote like My Antonia and I can't remember any others right now. So I don't really remember, and I don't know if I can get on board with this. I need to know a little bit more of its stance on things, but I will check it out. If you know, let me know. Back to the faith section, Dancing on the Edge of the World, Jewish Stories of Faith, Inspiration, and Love. So this, the description says, what does it mean to be Jewish? I'm not Jewish, but I super appreciate a lot of Jewish teachings. Drawing on the rich panorama of Jewish spiritual traditions and experiences from the ancient past to the present, this collection provides a revealing glimpse into Jewish life. Tales of kindness between strangers will touch your heart. They do it so well. Moments of spiritual clarity will move your soul. Accounts of outstanding faith, humor, and sorrow transformed to joy, even in the darkest of circumstances, will inspire your spirit. The personal memoirs, inspiring fictions, moving poetries, and insightful commentaries all open a window into the indomitable Jewish spirit that has been dancing on the edge of the world for more than 2,000 years. And it's a whole bunch of different contributors, so it sounded amazing. Oh, and then I got this book on Pete Seeger, How Can I Keep From Singing? Pete Seeger is a fantastic American folk icon. If you don't know, please go get yourself some folk music. Like he wrote, I can't think of it. I can't think of the name of it. But like a couple famous songs, like I'm gonna scan on the back here. Like he wrote that song for every season. Turn. I'm not gonna sing it for you. I'm sorry, but turn, turn. I think is what it is called. It was him. He did some of that. Folk music is hard to track down sometimes, so I actually don't remember the distinguishments between like what he wrote and what he just helped to popularize. But How Can I Keep From Singing is one of my very favorite hymns. I will put a link below to one of my very favorite folk musicians, or maybe I'll just put like Pete Seeger singing it. It's gorgeous. It would actually make a great cross-stitch pattern. So, anyway, I think this is a biography of him. It is a biography of him, and I just needed it because he's a fantastic singer. One of my family's favorite folk singers is John McCutcheon, and he released an album this past winter called, I don't remember it, but it was a tribute to Pete Seeger, and so it was beautiful. I got to go to see him perform, not Pete Seeger, who passed away a couple years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, don't remember. I should have looked up some of this information. No, I warned you, I know little to nothing about these books. John McCutcheon's recent album was a tribute to Pete Seeger, and we got to like sing turn, turn, turn together, and like If I Had a Hammer, and all these like great classic folk songs that I somehow grew up hearing all the time and didn't realize that not everybody did. So anyway, and now I can read all about him, and then I can teach you more things. I also got this Enneagram Made Easy, which I might already own. I still haven't checked. I love the Enneagram. It is an ancient personal development personality tool. It's getting a lot of buzz right now. It's, I think, a very useful and important tool when used correctly. It's easy to abuse. It's easy to like write people off as like, oh, you're type whatever, kind of like the Myers-Briggs. But I love the Enneagram. It has personally changed my life in profound ways. This is not the book I would recommend to start off with. This is the easy and fun guide to the Enneagram. So it can be a little useful if maybe I wouldn't say like this is what you want to use to find out your type, because it's like self-discovery. It's not take a test, here's your number. It's more of like which of these resonates with you based on your internal things. So if you're at all familiar with the Enneagram, I'm a 9. I am a peacemaker or the mediator. So I'm going to just share one thing with you. So the cardinal sin of 9s is sloth. And so like a common saying is like nines start out slow and just taper off. And so my like driving need is to avoid conflict. So conflict between others, between myself and others, and like within myself. So when I feel like stress or feel overwhelmed, like I don't know what to do, or there's too much to do, or anything like that, I just kind of shut down. And the more I learn and understand that about myself, the more I can handle it responsibly. Anyway, so there's this little cartoon in here that says, typical thoughts of a 9. My taxes are due tomorrow. I'll do them after I clean my desk. So that's a common thing, is procrastinating and doing something that really doesn't matter to not do the thing that you need to do, which I get is like, this is not specific to just 9s, but it's like a hallmark thing, is like productive procrastination. Okay, so that's one. I'll agree with whatever he says, but I'll do what I want. 9s are so stubborn, but like you won't necessarily know it. Like, yeah, I'm going to say whatever I need to say for you to be like, okay, great. And I want to make you happy, but also like, don't tell me what to do, because I'm just going to do what I want to do. Why do people get so worked up about things? I ask myself that 50 times a day. Like, everything's fine. And it's all going to be okay. Nothing matters. It's all good. And then the more she nags, the longer I'll drag. That is also true. It's again, this kind of like, don't tell me what to do. It's not gonna sit well. So I don't know if that actually means anything to you, because you might not know about the Enneagram, but, yes. I love being a 9. Sometimes I hate it. I can't even start to describe what all of this is, but, I'm just getting a little distracted looking at the pictures. As part of that, like trying to fight off all tension, 9s tend to be like very numb to their feelings and emotions. So like on the surface, super even keeled, super go with the flow. Underneath, sometimes super go with the flow, but also sometimes just like I can't tell what I think or what I want to do or whatever. So I've been doing a lot more embodiment work and embodiment practices in my daily life. So like more yoga and breathing, and just not even like yoga, but just like a stretch. And just like taking a minute to like, when I experience tension, actually paying attention to where it's sitting in my body, and then like reacting to that. And so that I can like breathe through it and then just find myself more centered. And this might sound like mumbo jumbo to you, and that if it does, that's fine. But I love it. I love it so much. And the Enneagram has changed my life, and I recommend that you check it out if you are interested in personal development work. It's another thing that's like a common conversation around my office too. So like in addition to just being something that I'm interested in, and a lot of my friends are interested in, and it's a common, like a lot of my friends are interested in it organically, and then others because I made them do it. But it's a really great shared language, because we're like sitting around like talking about our lives and what's going on, and it gives you a tool to understand yourself and others. It's just wonderful. Okay, that was bag number 1. Next is bag number 2. We're almost ready. Almost ready. Turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn. Da, da, da. I don't know how I got all those books to fit in that bag. They do not fit anymore. Oh well. Okay, bag number 2. That doesn't belong in it. This is Annette Valland, a novel of the French Revolution. I have read one book about one historical fiction set in the French Revolution, and I did not love it, but I love it enough to give it a chance because it just sounds fun. It's basically Les Mis, but a different story. This is, I don't know, some seems like she's a fancy aristocrat and something's going to happen. Terror and excitement of the French Revolution. It's an evocative tale that captures the courageous spirit of a remarkable woman who for too long has been relegated to the shadows of history. I don't know why she needs to be pulled out of history, but we're going to find out. Oh, she refuses to be married unless it is for passion. That's nice. Oh, and then she finds herself a young English poet. I don't know. We'll see if it's any good. I hope it is. Next up, I think this is one that one of my friends put in my bag for me, The Thorn Birds by Colleen McCullough. Oh, yeah. I have heard of this. I just don't know anything about it. It's set in the Australian outback. Powerful, moving, and unforgettable. A monumental literary achievement. A landmark novel to be read and read again. So, I don't know what it's about, but it's apparently very epic. And I picked up an R.L. Stine book, Hit and Run. I used to read these like they were going out of print. Like, I could not get my hands on them fast enough. Not Goosebumps, but the Fear Street books. So I thought this would be a fun little jaunt down memory lane. Actually, no, this one doesn't say Fear Street, so it might not be. But just like a little teen thriller that's like so mild compared to, you know, what kids are probably watching and reading. I don't know if they read this type of book. They might. Anyway, but it's like so mild-mannered compared to things. Love it. Did you all read Fear Street? Because I seriously, like, that's all I read in middle school, and I read some other things too, but it was like a lot of what I read. Whatever. And back in the cozy mystery world, the Titanic murders, which sounded really interesting, and when I first picked it up, I thought that was a mermaid. It's a gun. Because murder. So it's about one of the more famous passengers, I don't know if that is true or not, who was a celebrated American mystery writer of his time. Compared to Agatha Christie, he was one of the people who did not survive the sinking of the Titanic. Our story begins with 2 deaths that may have occurred before the ship went down. 2 murders that became the mystery writer's final challenge, inspired by actual people, events, and historical details. This unique mystery celebrates the spirit of a gilded bygone age and the men, women, and children who died on that cold, fateful night. I don't know why the Titanic is so enthralling, but it is. It's so tragic, and yet I need more of it. This book I got for Jam. It's called French for Cats. And the subtitle is All the French Your Cat Will Ever Need. And it is really wonderful, but I don't speak French, and this does not give, like, pronunciation advice. But, like, the cat, le chat, I know that much. The major cat parts, so it gives you the English and then the French. So it gives you the major cat parts. The basic cat wardrobe. Cat names. I am a big fan of... Oh, so it says, I will answer to these names: Serafina, Caesar, Cleo, Esmeralda, Mephisto, and Sybil. I will not answer to these names: Muffin, Fluffy, Felix, Mittens, Kitty, Garfield. And there's just a whole bunch of different cat things, like, let's see, the nap place, more napping, the cat bath, it's just fun. And so sometimes it describes, like, oh, like, I think I'm going to cough up a fur ball. Here it comes now. You need that in French, obviously. Your cat does. So I thought that was funny and cute. And then another cozy mystery. This is The Leper of St. Giles? Don't know. Let me put it over here. It's a medieval mystery. A medieval whodunit, excuse me. So you know I'm in for that. Their names are January and May. Or as, I don't know. I don't know if it's just saying they're as mismatched as January and May are, but that doesn't make any sense to me. And then this one I picked up because we have an extra credit assignment reading a book with a dragon, and I was like, this has a dragon on it. Maybe it'll be good. This is The Glass Dragon. It is the first in a series. I don't know how many are in it. And the premise is that dragons have recently become an endangered species, and we need to save it. There's more to it, obviously, but I'll read a bit. If I like it, great. It will meet the extra credit requirements. If not, then we'll not. The daily readings of St. Teresa of Avila. Have to have that. Oh, yeah. T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. I did not bother reading what this was about. I just put it in my bag. They're poems about cats. T.S. Eliot pays tribute to Mr. Mistopheles, the Rum-Tum Tugger, Macavity, the mystery cat, and a variety of other cats in this engaging collection of humorous poems. I'll take it. And then for some more poetry, I got a Puffin quartet of poems because the cover was just so pretty. It has substantial selections from the poems of 4 of our finest writers of children's verse: Eleanor Farjeon, James Reeves, Evie Rio, and Ian Serralier. I don't know how to say names. So it's just nice little poems. I don't really have a lot of poetry, but I would like to have the option of some. Oh my goodness, another mystery book. This one Birdie found for me. It's a fat cat mystery. It's called Fat Cat at Large. The cat's name is Quincy. And apparently he used to eat cherry cheesecake, but the vet says no more, so he's on a low-carb diet. Or low-calorie diet, excuse me. And then, you know, the fat cat stumbles across a corpse. So we gotta solve that mystery. One of the friends I was with was like, do you like nonfiction? And I said yes, and she brought me Founding Brothers. So it's the Revolutionary Generation. To be honest, I'll probably give this to my dad, and then if he likes it, maybe I'll read it. I don't know, I think we're just... The Founding Fathers re-examined here as Founding Brothers, combined... I don't know, it's just about founding people. We'll see. Ooh, been talking for a long time. Let's see. This one was just really pretty, so I wanted it. It's called Grayson. And I don't know what it is. Lynn Cox. It's the story of this lady is swimming in the whale. A baby gray whale swims alongside her for a mile. And then she had been swimming for more than an hour and she needed to get out of the water. But if she did, the young calf was going to follow her onto the shore and die. And so, you know, normally this baby whale would be carried on its mom's back all the way to the Bering Sea. And what are we going to do? She has to find a mother whale. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. This is the story, part mystery, part magical tale of what happened. It's based on a true story? Yes. Okay, she had already swum the English Channel twice and the Catalina Channel. I don't know what that is, but it sounds impressive. And she was training for another big swim when she was 17. But it doesn't matter because she came across a baby whale, and I need to read this immediately. Next up, Kenneth Leach, Soul Friend, an invitation to spiritual direction, which I picked up because the introduction is by Henry Nouwen, who is an author that I know and appreciate. Not know personally, but, you know. So, again, love me some good spiritual writing. Jeanette Walls, who wrote The Glass Castle. This is a novel, or is this one? No, okay. This one is, I think, just a novel. She has another book that she wrote that's like a memoirish based on her mother's life. This one is, I think, different. And honestly, I think that I might have read this or have read part of it. I can't remember. But I'm going to see if that's true or not, because I love The Glass Castle. If you haven't read that, I recommend that you do. I also picked up by Avi, The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle. This is a book that I really enjoyed as a kid. It was one of those books that, like, I didn't read it at the age where I typically would have. Like, I picked this up way later, like in high school or something, and normally I would have read this in like 5th or 6th grade. So I didn't come across it till like way later because I didn't like the cover. And it's really great. It's this girl, she ends up on a ship, and she, I forget exactly. I think, she's like a girl on the ship, and then there's a mutiny, and so there's someone else as captain, and I don't know. She ends up being just like a super cool, I don't know. I'll reread it and find out. I remember loving it. I also got If the Buddha Dated, which is a handbook for finding love on a spiritual path. And I don't know how I feel about dating books, but it shows you how to find a partner without losing yourself. And I think whatever is in here related to that would be super helpful and interesting, not even in just like partner relationships, but all relationships of navigating like spiritual growth, while also keeping your sense of self, staying loyal to your spiritual journey. When you stay loyal to your spiritual journey, you'll bring curiosity, fascination, and a light heart to the dating process / life. Drawing from Christian, Buddhist, Sufi, and other spiritual traditions. I don't know. It says at once practical, playful, and spiritually sound. So that sounds interesting. There was also one that said If the Buddha Married, but I didn't pick that up because I'm not married. This is another historical fiction, I believe. It is called Baker Towers. Bakerton is a community of company houses and church festivals of union squabbles and firemen's parades. I don't remember why I picked this up. 1940s, New York. Good enough for me. The Curse of La Fontaine, because it just looks so interesting. He opens a restaurant. He extends the seating into the courtyard, and the neighbors revolt. And then a skeleton is found buried in the courtyard next to the courtyard's fountain. Ooh, and then there's some threatening letters. This sounds like pretty twisty. Ooh, and there's some newlyweds. I don't know. Looks good. This one I got because McKenna. I don't think I need to say anything else about that. This is an interesting turn of events. Girl Meets God, which is by Lauren Winner, and I have read her book Mudhouse Sabbath, and she talks about converting from She converted to Judaism, because here it says on the back. Her father was Jewish, and her mother was a lapsed Southern Baptist. She chose to become an Orthodox Jew, and as she was studying Sabbath rituals and studying Jewish law, was drawn to Christianity. So she left. She converted from Judaism to Christianity, and then this book and the follow-up, Mudhouse Sabbath, she's kind of reconciling, holding both of those as her religious identity, and I super appreciate her. So I got that one. And then this one I bought because I wanted to read it, but also I'll share it with my sister. It's called Green, Greener, Greenest, a practical guide to making eco-smart choices a part of your life. And it's printed on recycled paper with ink that is green, and I think I forget what, it's like vegetable based or something cool. So I'm super excited about this. It's also, I think, kind of newer. It's in new condition for sure. Hold on. Nope, copyright 2008. Well, it's in great condition, and it breaks things up into like really manageable things. So like green, greener, greenest. You don't have to be greenest in all the areas, but maybe there is an area that like makes sense to be greener in than others for your life. And so she goes through food, beverages, personal care products, babies and children, home building and improvement, energy and water conservation, apparel and furnishings, cleaning, pest control, backyard and garden, transportation, and the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Don't forget refuse. That should be the first R. And rot, to compost. So it doesn't cover everything, but I'm super excited to see what it does cover, and I know that my sister will appreciate this at some point when I let her share it. Oh, we still got books. I didn't think this would take so long. I also got James Herriot, Every Living Thing. I used to have a James Herriot collection that I got as a gift as a child, but I haven't read any James Herriot as an adult, but I love a good memoir, and I love a good animal story, and like, I'll take a nice little country vet. And then, that was an overly dramatic gasp. I've never read this, and I'm kind of curious. Like, obviously people loved it, and it sounds like a cool story. So I was like, well, sure, for under $5, like, basically free with all these other books I'm getting. So I picked up the Da Vinci Code, and then I also picked up The Lost Symbol. I don't know. Have you read them? Do you like them? Let me know. Ooh, okay, this is the final stack. Okay, so again, psychotherapy, somatic work, all kinds of stuff. We talk about it in my office all the time. So this is called Getting Our Bodies Back, and it is recovery, healing, and transformation through body-centered psychotherapy. Obviously, I'm not going to practice psychotherapy. I am not a practiced psychotherapist, and I don't know like how accessible this is for people who are like, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm saying right now. I love embodied practices, and I am excited to see if this has any new things to teach me. And I also want to see how old it is. 96. So where was this in 96 when we all could have used more somatic work? I don't know. Next up, what the Buddha taught. Because if I'm going to read other stuff about Buddhism, I would like to have, this is not Buddhist text exactly, but it is lucid and faithful account of the Buddhist teachings. I don't know. I want to have a whole religion, spirituality library at my disposal, so that's going on it. And then this one, I don't remember why I picked it up. I think it just sounded hilarious and like a fun beach read, and it's called The Wild Woman's Guide to Traveling the World. Look at that lady. She's having a blast. This is why I wanted it. She's got a job at a consulting firm. I have a job at a consulting firm. She's in Manhattan, and I am not. But she's got a whirlwind vacation romance, and I don't know. It sounds real dumb, but real fun. I got The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides. I have read The Virgin Suicides, and I really enjoyed it. I own, what's his other book? Is it going to say on the back? Nope. He doesn't have an author bio on the back for me. Oh, it's on the front. Middlesex. I own it. I haven't read it. So pick that up. Oh, The Gathering of Zion. This is the story of the Mormon Trail. By Wallace Stegner, and I am excited to read it. This detailed account, drawn from the carefully preserved diaries of the migrants themselves, begins in 1844 with the murder of Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, and ends with the driving of the Golden Spike, joining the Union Pacific and Central Pacific Railways at Promontory, Utah, 25 years later. Why is that an important thing to know? I'll find out. And then I was curious, so I also got The Secret, because this was a big deal. This is, I don't know, like, I want to know why it's such a big deal, and I want to know which parts of it, like, truly transfer to be things in my life that I currently use for self-awareness and, I don't know, empowerment, whatever it is. I don't know. Let's do this one next. This is The Man Who Never Returned. Oh my goodness. And this is 1930s, Great Depression, New York. He just disappeared. He became an urban legend. He remains... Hold on. Off he went into history, myth, and urban legend. Judge Crater's disappearance remains the most enduring and fascinating unsolved mystery in the Chronicles of Gotham. I don't know. It looked kind of good. And then last but not least, this is The King's Gambit. Let me take the sticker off so you can see. No, it's not going to want to come off. Doesn't matter. It is set in Rome. Love it. There are blackmail, corruption, treachery, murder, the glory that was Rome. Oh, there's a disembowelment on the back cover. He uncovers a world of corruption at the highest levels of his government that threatens to destroy him and the government he serves. Oh my goodness. So I don't know, but it sounds kind of interesting, so I grabbed it. And that, my friends, is it. There's a few more somewhere. Don't know. If you've read any of these and you loved it or you hated it, let me know, please. I'm going to try to fit them all back in this bag because I have not made space for them yet on my shelves. You know, as of filming this video while you watched, haven't made space. And with that, I have to go eat some dinner because I'm hungry because it's dinner time. I don't know what I am saying to you all. I am tired. I can't wait to go stitch. Maybe later I'll read. It's going to be great. If you have any great summer reads that you're excited about, let me know. I haven't really done my summer reading planning yet. I don't do a ton, but usually I like put on hold a lot of the like books that are coming out or have recently come out. And I have not done that yet this year. So that's going to be a bummer because there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm like 50th or 500th on the wait list at the library, but that's okay. I can be patient, I suppose. Thanks for hanging with me while I put these all away. Oh, I kind of got them to fit. Not as nicely, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. I am going to try to make another, not that you necessarily care about this, because this would have been a more natural update for my last video, my stitching video, but I'm hoping to make one more update before StitchCon, because last year I went to StitchCon and then I did not make any videos for ages, and there were a lot of reasons behind that, but partly it was just like there's so much to share, and then it just gets overwhelming. So I'm going to try to share before I go to StitchCon so that I just have to have StitchCon to share when I get back. You get it. Okay, I'm going to go upload this. Have a great June, and I'll see you at StitchCon, and I'll see you before StitchCon, and some of you I won't see at StitchCon. You get it. Let me know what you're reading.